Hi, I'm Bonnie Kempke. Welcome to my studio and welcome to Quilting on a Thread. Today's T3 video, that's my tools, tips, and techniques, is a demo of my favorite new rotary tools. And so because of that, we're here in my cutting studio. I'll explain how these new rotary tools are an improvement and why I'm willing to replace most, if not all, of my previous rotary tools and rulers, even though there's nothing wrong with the tools that I had been using. Now that I have you positioned over my shoulder, let's get started. These are the items I'm going to demonstrate, and this will be something that I use to show you the differences between the a standard ruler. This happens to be the Omni Grip, and the TrueCut rulers. And the thing about the TrueCut rulers is to realize there's a lip on this ruler that you'll use with your TrueCut rulers to grab onto and guide your cutting along, and it'll give you a perfectly straight line. The first rotary cutter in my new favs category is the TrueCut StraightCut rotary cutter with the quick change blades. This is a 60mm cutter. I've never owned a 60mm cutter before, so that was a huge game changer for me. This rotary cutter, the TrueCut StraightCut, was a gift. And let me be perfectly honest with you, I don't believe I would have bought the TrueCut rotary cutters before I received this gift. This is a 60mm. It's a game changer. I've never used a 60mm rotary cutter before. I didn't realize what a huge improvement a 60mm was over a 45mm. So I mentioned that I don't believe I would have bought the rotary cutters, the TrueCut rotary cutters, had I not been gifted this one. And there's a reason behind that. I bought what I've considered gimmicky rotary cutters before, and for a lot more money than this rotary cutter cost, only to find them cheap and flimsy. And my old standards worked perfectly fine. There was no need to change until there was. So the first thing I noticed about this rotary cutter when I got it was how it fit my hand so nicely. It fits really well in the palm of my hand, and there's no trying to figure out how to hold it. And it doesn't irritate my wrist by extending itself beyond my wrist, and several of my rotary cutters before they did. They did irritate my wrist because they sat back here and they were just the wrong fit for me, obviously. I also like the fact that this is a very easily reversible rotary cutter. It has the finger contact points here on the right side. It has the finger contact points here on the left side. I'm ambidextrous, so sometimes I do cut left-handed, so this is really, really convenient to be able to just go from left hand to right and back and forth. So I like that you can use it with either hand, just as it is. It also feels like it's an extension of my hand, not something that I have to walk around to find a way to hold it. Some of my earlier rotary cutters, my prior rotary cutters, had like a trigger grip where you have to press that in, get your finger in position, and you have to continue holding that. And so that's a lot of strain here in my hands, and I have a little bit of arthritis, so I really didn't appreciate that. And to cut with this rotary cutter, all you do is pull the safety plate back with the black lever, and this exposes the blade. You just hold your ruler down, slide across your blade. And I am doing this sitting down, which is not something I can do with my other rulers. To put your blade away, you simply push the lever back, as I'd already done, and it moves the plate into the protective position, and you're pretty well protected. There's nothing knocking that blade protector out of the way. It only moves by this lever, which moves pretty easily, but it doesn't move on its own. So here's where the TrueCut product really comes out in front of all of my other rotary cutters. None of my other rotary cutters have the following attributes. The first one is something that all TrueCut rotary cutters share. They come with both a standard blade and pin to be used with a standard ruler or with the TrueCut ruler, and they come with the ruler guide and pin, which is to be used with the TrueCut rulers themselves. You wouldn't be able to use this with a standard. And all you have to do to swap between the two is release the pin and replace it with this. But let's show you first how easy this is to use with a standard ruler. We pull back the blade, we hold our we hold our ruler down. And that's really no different than when we cut with the regular blade. Now, the ruler guide and pin allows for the rotary cutter to straddle the lip on the TrueCut ruler and cut a perfectly straight line. So this straddles with the guide on this side and the blade would be on the outer edge, and it just glides along. And I'll demonstrate that in a few moments. The second item that brings the TrueCut product out in front of my other rotary cutters is the quick release. Now, not all of the TrueCut rotary cutters have the quick release, but this particular rotary cutter does. And with those rotary cutters that have the quick release, the pin and blade are held in place by magnets embedded within the tool. So pressing a button will quickly release the pin and allow for the blade to be removed. And this is for blade changes. And in some instances for reversing the orientation of the tool itself. To replace the pin, you simply reinsert the pin and firmly engage the magnetic clip, and you get back to your cutting. So now that I've explained that we can easily use the TrueCut rotary cutters with either a standard ruler or with a TrueCut ruler simply by swapping out the standard pin for the ruler guide and the ruler guide pin, let's go ahead and swap the pin out and just see how simple that is. You simply click the release button and the pin will drop out. In this particular model, there's a magnet that holds the blade in place, and we're going to leave that way. So we verified the blade position is, open to the hole. We bring the guide and pin in place, drop it in the hole, snap, we're ready to go. So let's bring over a TrueCut ruler, and remember that we want to use the guide and the blade to straddle the lip on the ruler. So let's release the blade protector, hold the ruler down, make sure that you're on that lip. So that's the TrueCut StraightCut with the quick release. I love the TrueCut StraightCut so much that I picked up the TrueCut MyComfort cutter in a 45mm blade. This is an ergonomic cutter and it has the quick release as well. So I was really pleased to have this. The MyComfort fits my hand just as well as the StraightCut did, and cuts just as easily with very little effort. Like the TrueCut StraightCut, the MyComfort can be used with either the left hand or the right hand. My MyComfort is set up for the right-handed use. So let's change that, and while we're at it, let's change the standard pin and put in the ruler guide and pin. To change the MyComfort from a right-handed cutter to a left-handed cutter, we'll have to change the configuration a bit. As you can see, the release clip assembly is on the right side of the rotary blade as a right-handed cutter. we'll change that around. And the release clip is also a little bit different than on the StraightCut. And the magnet doesn't hold the blade as it does on the TrueCut StraightCut. The magnet here holds only the pin. So when we press the release pin, both the pin and the blade will drop. So we want to, since we're going to be swapping this from a right-handed to a left-handed unit, we want to go ahead and remove the blade guard. And we do that, I don't know if you noticed that, so let me put this back in. So how we remove the blade guard is we go ahead and push the lever back, let that pop up, and just slip it in and out. So we slip it out. Now that we've done that, we need to remove the release button assembly. And we do that by taking our thumbs and firmly just sliding it out. It'll click, and then you can pick it up. Notice there's a pin on the end of this. That pin matches up with a hole on either side. So we have the hole here. Now this is, we just removed it from this side, so we're going to put it into this side. So there's some circular assembly in here. We want to put the widest part of the assembly there, and that'll just rest. And then we push it, making sure that the pin and hole match up, and it'll click in place. Now we will pick up the blade guard and we'll insert it into the hole here, let it drop, click it out forward. So let me do that again for you so you can see that. We're going to drop it in, let this little ridge clear the hole, then we're going to push it forward. Let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to push it forward so that it's now firmly in place. So we're going to pick up the blade and just rest the blade there. We're changing the pin from the standard pin to the ruler guide and pin, and we're going to just drop that in the hole. Press firmly, it'll click, and now you're ready to cut. So we're going to go ahead and cut here. Now I'm ambidextrous, but not always as ambidextrous as I would like to be, but this makes it so easy because I'm using the lip as my guide. And I just move forward. Finally, I want to show you this last TrueCut because this one is mechanical. It doesn't have the quick release. So this is the 60mm blade, and it's quite a bit heavier than the 45mm blade that we just demonstrated. But don't let that fool you. It's still as easy to use as the 45mm version. In fact, it may even be easier because of the weight. The main difference between the 45mm that we just demonstrated and the 60mm is the mechanical release. So let me show you what the difference is. So this is the quick release, and this is a mechanical release with a bolt. So let's just change the MyComfort cutter from a right-handed cutter to a left-handed cutter, and while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and swap the standard bolt for the ruler guide and bolt. Now the mechanical differs from the quick release version with the bolt versus the quick release button. So with the bolt, we're going to have to unscrew that and remove the screw assembly. So with the blade guard protecting the blade, loosen the nut while holding the pin steady. Remove the nut, remove this little spring. It looks like a bent up washer. Just remove the little spring, then remove the plastic washer. Allow the pin and the blade to drop out. Remove the blade guard like we have previously. Remove the plastic insert by just using your thumbs to release it. Reassemble by bringing the plastic insert here, line up the pin and the hole. Line up the pin in the hole, press it, it'll click. Turn it over, insert the blade guard, engage it, lift the blade carefully up off of the bolt, position it over the hole, bring the ruler guide and the bolt over, insert the plastic washer, replace the spring, pick up your bolt. There's a brass center. Make sure that the brass center is down. Screw that into place. And we're actually ready to cut. Put your guide and blade straddled over the lip. And there's your cut. So that's all my new faves for this week, and I just wanted to share those with you because I'm very excited about a lot of the things that I've found running around from quilting store to quilting store the past few weeks. And I hope that that helps you in your journey. If nothing else, you can at least see what I've been doing. But I truly do hope it helps you in your quilting journey. I hope to see you again here on Quilting on a Thread.